Hola! Your journey starts now.
Just south of our border is an amazing world that needs the gospel. BIEM Latin America has a wonderful program for those who would like to diversify their opportunities in this good news expedition. This missions journey was set in motion by the Apostle Paul. Many of us are familiar with this activation of our Lord's command and that we are to be great commissional Christians. BIEM Latin America still believes this model works. This means evangelism, making disciples, assembling believers into local churches, and repeating the process from Jerusalem to the ends of the earth. Missions has a very specific biblical purpose: evangelization that produces churches. Paul evangelized. Acts 13:49 says, "And the word of the Lord was published throughout all the region." Paul saw churches started. And when they had ordained them elders in every church and had prayed with fasting, they commended them to the Lord on whom they believed. Acts 14:23. This resulted with churches in Rome, Corinth, Galatia, Ephesus, Philippi, Colossae, and Thessalonica. The journey expanded throughout all Asia and Europe. Paul capitalized on this clear vision by training pastors, his seminary on the road. These trained men were ready to minister in the churches that were started. With great commissional obedience, Paul's 3 missionary journeys, came great expansion of the gospel. By the 15th century, we saw the journey expand to the New World, the Americas. This expansion brought souls saved, church starts, and biblical training throughout the world. The journey is about to go full circle in many parts of the world. The time is ripe for the expertise of BIEM.
Thanks for letting us talk to you a little bit about BIEM Latin America. As a pastor of 35 years, very involved in missions, I think this is probably one of the greatest opportunities we have to make our missions dollar most effective in starting churches. I wanted to take a few moments and just give you some names to pray about and some men that have done this process successfully. We have Joel Gamboa, one of the first men that we started. He's in the area of Trujillo, which is where one of the schools is located. Joel was in a drug-infested area, went through the school, got saved, went through the school, and started a church. He was driving taxi cabs and trying to make this church go. BIEM Latin America intervened and gave him this wonderful opportunity of 2 years of underwriting. Joel stopped driving his cab, started working full-time, and right now his church has grown to the place that it's filling up its building. He has an assistant working with him, and they're a thriving ministry. All we did was give him a help up and not a hand out. And that's such a wonderful thing about this program. We have a young man named Samuel Vega. He's up in the mountains just east of Lima. Samuel was one of those young men that I watched for several years while he was going through school. And he was a leader, a natural leader. He and his wife and their child now are in this mountain community doing a great job for Jesus Christ. He's been supported by a church from the south, and that church has embraced this idea of underwriting a man and doing a church start at their expense because it's so very, very responsible and so reasonable. Samuel Vega will be a good product for them, and that church will be a testimony for this program as it's laid out. I could tell you about Luis Escobar starting a church in the city of Tarapoto, a high jungle city, and he got it almost to the place of being self-sufficient. It's now being pastored by a man named Cesar Castillo, doing a great job, and again, another good investment. Right now, we're underwriting 3 young men. Teodoro, he's north of Trujillo in the city of Chapan, and we're excited to see what he's doing. Presently, BIEM is investing in him. We have Wilbur in the jungle communities of the state of Cusco, and he's doing a river itinerary ministry, servicing 4 or 5 different local churches, doing a great job. He's married to one of the tribal gals, and this is the kind of ministry you would see on National Geographic as they are into really the jungle culture. But he's doing a good job there, one of the class of 15. And then we have Javier, who's going into Cusco City. Cusco City, a city of 600,000 people, 5 independent Baptist churches, and he is going to the area in Cusco where there are no Baptist churches. The other four or 5 are located in one section, one quadrant. He's going to the total opposite quadrant to start a church there. These are the men we're presently supporting. If you find it in your heart to invest in areas that produce a very good return, if you will, the end of the missions process, where the nationals are training nationals, and these nationals are going in and starting churches. No issue with food, no issue with water, no issue with their wives crying to go home, no issue with, the fail rate is minimal. This is a great investment, and it's one we'd like to share with you, invite you to consider, and perhaps, if God will move in your heart, to participate in. Thanks for the few moments that you've given me in this presentation. I hope the rest of the presentation you can see how our heart is there and how the benefits of this pattern, this program, this template are producing some great men and great opportunities for the cause of Christ in this selected field in Latin America. Thanks a lot. God bless you and might you be part of BIEM LA, Latin America.
Where can our journey take us? We have opportunities in Brazil, Bolivia, Chile, Mexico, Puerto Rico, Ecuador, Argentina, Honduras, and other countries in South America. Many graduates would be overjoyed to receive a 2-year window of support to plant a new church. These are men who live without in order to get an education, who already know the language, and can travel freely throughout the nations of Latin America. We can clearly see an advantage in investing in a national graduate versus an American graduate. In the time it takes one new American missionary to get his first church established, we could start about 16 churches under national pastors, remembering that the national does not need deputation, language school, nor cultural adjustment. He is ready to go, ready to serve, ready and trained for church starting. This diversification of our missions dollars can prove to be very effective. This is not to say that we stop praying for and sending Americans to the field, but pioneer missions work is just a small window at the beginning of the timeline in this biblical journey. Touching lives we could never reach. Constructing church buildings under harsh conditions. Yielding much fruit as the journey continues. Would you pray? Would you partner? Would you put your feet into motion and join our journey? Not just where we've been, but where we're going.